saying the environment has to be changed.
What we're saying is have a heart.
We've got to be able to regenerate our
There'll
economy.
be people who are kind, people who are cruel, but that's life. You can be bigoted about freedom. I'm fine with that.
What's wrong with Singaporeans?
What would you like to see happen in the care of our aging population? What do you think is wrong? What do you think can be improved? What do you think ought to be done?
I guess the government can be a bit more generous. Because especially, I say, example of, like the well-being of this elderly. I don't think we should be, we should be able to pay, we should pay for our bus fare and all this, or even to visit some places of interest, which is practiced in other countries.
You're talking of affordability, right?
Yes.
All right. Elson?
I think in Singapore, many of the people who have this thinking in Mandarin, they say, 能死不能病. You can die, but you cannot fall sick. Because if you die, the burden stops there. But if you are sick, the burden will carry on for as long as you are alive. And a lot of people, they are actually very concerned on medical costs and everything. So I feel that if we can afford, our government can afford, we should, allow these people who they really need the last bit of medical attention to save their life, whatever treatment, transplant and everything, they should just subsidize and just give it to them.
Why government alone? What about society?
I think because Singapore, we pride ourselves as having the best medical hospital in Asia. So.
I mean society. When I say society, I mean government is actually also society, because we are the taxpayers. I mean that's where our money goes to, and so that's where we hope that the money will be spent on to save other people's life. That will be more meaningful, lah.
Ling Ling.
Well, you talk about healthcare. I think the government is now looking into MediShield Life. So I really hope that they will really come up with a good system that will
You're
really
still paying for MediShield Life. But what I agree with the young fellow is that we should be given free, like transport. Why are they making money on transport? In fact, transport should be nationalized and given free.
Yes.
Because that's a basic necessity of the people.
For the older people.
For anybody, for that matter.
No, we put it as,
but
you're 65 and above, it's okay.
Everything with the Singapore government is money, money, money. And that's what's wrong.
But there has to be sustainability.
I have been writing about increased premiums forever until they don't print it. Whatever the government gives you, the insurance companies raise the premium that beyond. Now they're saying you can't pay, never mind, it's okay, close the premium down. So for those of us, all we are asking...
This is insurance premium.
Yeah, no, and we are not asking for a handout. All we're saying is, let us use money from our Medisave. That's all we're saying. Secondly, control. The blood suckers are the insurance companies. They're robbing us blind. So,
Professor?
You can't expect the government to solve this. This is going to have to become something that the whole population gets engaged in, because it's not going to be sustainable. If your population ratio starts to continue to decline, how are you going to run the place?
We have the money, but they're not utilizing the money they take from us to do the right thing.
Anything else you want, Bill?
I've been a very strong supporter of the government until a few years back, when I saw all the things that they're doing have gone wrong, honestly.
So what do you want for older people?
Yeah,
Apart from
care, free, a lot of, if not completely free, heavily subsidized medical until the guy dies.
I think the first batch of national service guys 65 years old. So can we do something for them? Maybe say okay, free transport, but that's for no ones. The 65 already,
I think what we're saying is have a heart. There are people who need more and people who need less. Balance it.
Without any question, is the amount of money allocated to healthcare is going to go up. It's probably going to double, I would suspect.
Even double is still very much less than in America.
Yes, I think it's
16%.
a huge amount.
Yeah.
So it's a question of what's the right care for who, how long, and it's going to be something which the population, everybody has to have a discussion on. It's a pro and con. I think the problem really is, if you look closer, the end-of-life care becomes an absolutely critical one.
And you say end of life also is an understanding of what we want for end of life. It's not what the relatives want to prolong life, but maybe dying with dignity,
if
dying
I
at
share
home.
with you what happened to my auntie, which was quite shocking, because she had cancer, and when I took her to the doctors, she sat down, she's quite a hard lady, and says, I know I'm going to die. I want to be here. Okay, that shocked me. I said, okay, you be here. And he told her, okay. You know, hospice, when they mention hospice, it's a 2-week cycle. Everybody knows that hospice means
terminally ill.
But you know, I saw a change in her. She accepted what was happening. The doctors there had changed. In other words, I saw a difference in where they say, okay, I'll talk to you. And they gave her the choice. And at hospice, when I saw how they were treating, it was assisi. I was amazed, because it's a whole lot of people, the counseling, the dignity, it was a different, you know, this thing of how they gave the patient, you know, dignity, you know.
Can I just sum up quickly? I think the question is, I think the important question is the allocation of resources. At the moment, we're spending 2% of the gross domestic product on healthcare by 2016. The elderly healthcare, and it will increase to 3.5 by 2030. That's still a far cry from what is being spent in America, which is 16%. More resources will have to be allocated, but it is how the resources are allocated. I think at the moment, a lot of the planning is done on infrastructure, senior elderly centers and hospitals and all that. I think while the physical infrastructure is very important, the elderly also want a say in how they are treated, and things like self-esteem, respect, a sense of usefulness are important to them, and we have to see how these can be addressed. Also, the activities that they have when they're old, it's the software. It's not so much the hardware, but the software needs attention to. It is what sort of activities they can have, and the virtual villages mentioned by Janice earlier on, it's something that we should seriously think about, and what sort of social activity they have, and their interaction with one another, and how do they maintain their dignity, and even in the dying, whether they choose to die with dignity at home, or whether, as is sometimes the case, the relatives want to prolong their life at high medical costs, whether this is something that we actually should look seriously into and not having. Because in America, most of the high medical costs is in the last week of dying, and you say even in the last few days of dying, where the medical fees are very much higher, and whether this is what the elderly want. With that, we close. I'm sure that 2030 is not too long away, but it's not too close, and there are a lot of things that can be done in the meantime. And going by the government record, things should be done. Good night.